The Chase line has 17 stations, stretching from Birmingham New Street to Rugeley Trent Valley, via stations such as Walsall, Cannock and Rugeley Town. In this mini-series, I'm looking at some of the most interesting and unique facts regarding the stations on this line, which you may not have known about. In part 1 of this mini-series, I looked at the history of the Chase line, as well as a look in depth at the stations from Witton to Walsall. In this second and final episode, I'll be looking at the stations after Walsall up to Rugeley Trent Valley, the terminus. Do ensure you've watched part 1 if you haven't done so already, with a link in the description below. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If so, do like and subscribe, and consider joining the channel for exclusive perks. Now though, I'm hopping on this class 730 to the first station of today's video, Bloxwich. Hello, welcome to the first station in today's video of Bloxwich. Now this station is the first station on the Chase line north of Walsall, of course. Now this line originally closed in January of 1965 but was reopened in August of 1989, originally terminating at Hednesford. The current station lies just south of the original Bloxwich station. It did have an old signal box here until 2014. The line north of Walsall was electrified in 2018 in December, with electric services commencing from May 2019, being operated by Class 350s. They're now operated by Class 730s. These electrification works removed all traces of the original station. The station itself is, like a lot of the stations along this line, very boring. It is literally just two platforms, and those platforms are pretty sort of, well, flimsy, I would say. They are like creaking below me. And yeah, it's a station. It does the job. It has shelters, it has step-free access via ramps, and that's literally it. It's worth noting that we're actually not really that close to the town centre of Bloxwich. It's around a 15-minute walk. It's a really sort of odd place. I'm not sure why they put the station here and not on the original station site, because that is far more central in terms of location in Bloxwich. But yeah, the station really isn't that significant, apart from the fact that it's the first station north of Walsall on the reopened Chase line towards Rugeley. It is also worth noting that service frequency on this line is now twice an hour. So at Walsall it was 4 trains an hour. On the other stations it was 2 trains an hour, but they only got services from Walsall to Wolverhampton. Here north of Walsall it's 2 trains an hour in each direction, but they go to Birmingham International and not Wolverhampton. The trains go, I believe, from Bloxwich, it's literally Walsall, Cambridge Parkway, and then Birmingham New Street, and then onwards to Birmingham International. The line and the stations in it did used to get a service to Euston. It was a weird service, so every other service would go to Euston. It would couple up with a Liverpool Lime Street service at Birmingham New Street and then continue on to Euston, and that was in, I believe it was May 2019 or maybe December 2019. It was in one of the 2019 timetable changes by West Midlands Trains, and that timetable change was a complete disaster. You have to watch my video on it. I made a whole video on West Midlands Trains and the timetable disaster, including the coupling of trains to Euston. Basically, when you merge 3 services into one but don't increase the number of carriages, things get quite busy. But yeah, now you can't get a train to Euston. You can get a train to Birmingham International and then I guess change there for Avanti, or go to Birmingham New Street and then change there for London North West and Avanti, or Chiltern. It is worth noting here that the station shelters are actually old London Midland ones. I believe they were installed in the mid-2010s, and West Midlands Railway have kept their colours despite not being a green operator. They are bright orange, but the shelters still resemble the previous operator. It's also worth noting that all the stations north of Walsall to Rugeley Town have these really cool station sculptures, which are all railway related, including this one here at Bloxwich. But yeah, now we're going from one pretty boring station to another pretty boring station of Bloxwich North. Well, hello from the second station in today's video, Bloxwich North. Now this is another pretty boring station, it must be said. The station itself was a later addition to the line, opening in 1990, a year after passenger services had actually recommenced. The station was built to serve the new housing development which surrounds the station, and it was known as Broad Lane prior to opening. That's what it was going to be called, and then British Rail renamed it to Bloxwich North. The station was originally opened as a temporary station. It was only a sort of experimental station, but then luckily British Rail deemed that the passenger numbers were sufficient to keep the station open permanently, so the platforms have remained the same. These are technically temporary platforms, but like the other stations along the line, the platforms do feel pretty, well, basic would be the term that I would use. Literally just a platform and a shelter, and another platform and a shelter, although there is step-free access via these big ramps. Now this station is proof that the electrification of the Chase line north of Walsall has been a huge success. Not only have platforms been extended here to accommodate longer trains, but passenger numbers have more than doubled from the 2019 figure. That is also helped by the fact that service frequency has also doubled from 1 train an hour to 2 trains an hour in December 2019. But it is proof that if you build it, they will come. If you give a station more frequent trains, passengers will use it. I will say, as sort of boring and not desolate, but just nothingy this station is, it is quite peaceful and relaxing. The weather's all nice now, the sun's come out, and yeah, it's just quite peaceful. I can hear the birds chirping away, the road up there isn't too busy, and it's just quite nice. It's very quiet as well. Anyway, it's now time to head to the next station along the line of Landywood. Welcome to Landywood station. Now this station is pretty unique in the fact that it has staggered platforms. Look, there's platform 2 over there on the other side of the road bridge, which makes this station, despite it being very basic and pretty dull, it makes it a somewhat interesting station, I guess. The actual area of Landywood itself is, well, just a housing estate. There was actually another station in Landywood on this exact site. It opened in 1908, but closed just 8 years later in 1916, and it had to wait until 1989 to get the current present day station. The area was previously served by the Rugeley and Cheslin Hay station. I probably absolutely butchered that pronunciation and I apologise. And that station remained open until the Beeching Cuts in 1965, when the line north of Walsall was stripped of its passenger services. Now, I don't actually know what this is, but there's a little box with like a deer or something which says Landywood on it. Of course, this whole area is pretty known for its wildlife and other things, so it's quite a nice leafy green area. Now, I have been here before, and if I remember, you come out the station, there's a great field and there's a co-op. Now, the old station of Rugeley and Cheslin Hay was actually featured in the Flanders and Swan song called Slow Train, which described with sadness the closure of many British stations during the Beeching Acts. Now, in 2010, most of the stations north of Walsall on the Chase line received a plethora of upgrades, including the new shelters, new dot matrix screens, new fences, and just a general refresh. And Landywood also received those upgrades, but this station received further upgrades in June of 2024, with this car park, I believe, being newly resurfaced. Now though, it's time to go to the next station along the line of Cannock. But before we go to the next station of Cannock, let's talk about today's sponsor, Trip.com, as they're offering viewers a chance to get their rail card completely free. If, like me, you travel a lot by train, you must know how expensive train tickets can be. But with Trip.com, you can save tons of money regardless of where you're travelling in Europe. Firstly, Trip.com uses split tickets to automatically save on your trip, and with no booking fees, it's usually cheaper to book through Trip.com versus other major ticketers. Trip.com's best price guarantee means that if you find tickets for a cheaper price elsewhere, they'll refund you the difference. Van Manio viewers can also gain exclusive discounts by using the code #BTS13 in the app. The first 320 people to input my code in the app will claim a 1-year railcard completely free, whilst new users can also get 20% off railcards and 5% off UK train tickets, as well as 10% off tickets in the European Union. Existing users can still claim benefits, such as 10% off railcards and 2% off UK train tickets. As well as this, if you purchase tickets on the 26th of September, the day that this video releases, you can enjoy 4% off UK train tickets regardless of being a new or existing user. So what are you waiting for? Use the code #BTS13 in the Trip.com app to gain exclusive rewards now, including a chance for a free rail card. But do note, this is on a first come, first served basis, so be sure to download the app as soon as possible. Thanks again to Trip.com for sponsoring this video and helping me to make these videos. Now though, it's time to join me at our next station of Cannock. So yes, on to Cannock Station. The station was originally opened as a terminus in February 1858, before the line was extended to Rugeley in November of 1859. The station was reopened in 1989, after closing previously in 1965, like the other stations north of Walsall. The remains of the southbound platform of the original station can still be seen to the north and behind of Platform 1. After receiving upgrades in 2010, which I mentioned at Landywood station, the station received further work in 2018, including a new 300 space car park and improving the general facilities and access of the station, costing £400,000. Of course, I can't talk about Cannock without mentioning Cannock Chase, the large nature reserve area which is named after the town, but we'll get on to Cannock Chase a little bit later. Cannock itself is a relatively large town with over 100,000 people living in the area, and 30,000 of those in Cannock itself. Former Transport Secretary Patrick McLaughlin was educated in Cannock. But that's enough for Cannock. The station itself was really busy when I was filming, so I couldn't actually film anything at the station. Anyway, let's go on to the next station of Hednesford. Hello, you join me here at Hednesford station, the penultimate station on the line, and in today's video, it's quite nice here. There's like an old heritage sign over there saying over the bridge for the shops. Now, what is there to say about Hednesford? Now, there's a plaque just up there commemorating the line's extension to Rugeley, because before 1997 and after 1989, so for those 8 years, this station was actually the terminus of the Chase line. It was only extended to Hednesford before they finally extended it to Rugeley Town and Rugeley Trent Valley. That means that for a while this station was a terminus of the Chase line and actually still does see some terminating services. The crossover points for Hednesford station are still in use and do see, I think, one train a week on a Saturday or Sunday terminates here, like midnight. I think it's a Saturday. And also sometimes during disruption or engineering works, they terminate trains at Hednesford. The station was originally opened in 1859 before closing in 1965, and it was originally opened by the Cannock Mineral Railway. Now, the actual area of Hednesford is located to a lot of things, such as Hednesford Hills Local Nature Reserve, Hednesford Hills Raceway, and the Museum of Cannock Chase, which is also in Hednesford. It's also nearby to Cannock Chase, the park itself. Now, Cannock Chase is managed by Forestry England, being a former royal forest. The actual area of Cannock Chase is the name of the entire district, but it also is the name of the national park. The park was designated as an area of outstanding natural beauty in 1958, and is also a site of specific scientific interest, and it's the smallest one of these in the country. The area has a history of coal mining and attracted over 2 million visitors in 2010. The area also had an RAF station called RAF Hednesford. It was a trainee station, it wasn't an airfield, but this closed in 1956 and was demolished in 1970. There was actually a train station which served this RAF base called Brindley Heath Station, which lies between Hednesford and Cannock. The station house is still present to this day, and the station opened in 1939, closing in 1959, 3 years after RAF Hednesford closed. There's not too much more to say about Hednesford, apart from the fact that it's the gateway to Cannock Chase Park. There's lots of walks here, and lots of bike trails and things. I would love to one day, have a walk through Cannock Chase or something. It seems a very pretty place. But for now, it's time to go to Rugeley Town, which is the penultimate station on the Chase line, and in today's video. See you there.
Platform 1 for the 1500 West Midlands Railway service to Birmingham International via Hednesford and Bloxwich North.
Hello, you join me here at the penultimate station of the video, here at Rugeley Town station. Now, this station opened a lot later than the other stations on the Chase line. It actually opened in 1997. That is because the line was finally extended to Rugeley Trent Valley in the late 90s, and Rugeley Town was built, despite it actually not really being in the town centre. I think it's a 10 to 15 minute walk from Rugeley Town to the town centre, and it's a 15 to 20 minute walk from Rugeley Trent Valley to the town centre. The whole area here around Rugeley is pretty industrial. If I was standing here around 10-15 years ago, none of these houses would be here, and the whole skyline would be dominated by a power station. There were 2 coal-fired power stations in Rugeley. Rugeley A power station opened in 1961 but closed in 1995, whilst Rugeley B coal power station was opened in 1970 and closed in 2016. The cooling towers were finally demolished in 2021. The workers which worked in the coal power plants actually ran, and still do run, a miniature railway. The site of it has been protected and is currently basically just sat around a bunch of rubble. All of the power stations have been demolished, and then just there's a tiny little miniature railway. The actual station itself is pretty boring. It's got 2 platforms. They're quite boring platforms. It's got a footbridge. It's not, actually it is step-free on both sides, but I think it's a very difficult and long trek to get to platform 2. If you want the step-free route, you have to go all the way round, and I don't know, I think it's quite the detour, but yeah, it technically is step-free. Rugeley itself, ever since the power station closed, has sort of been suffering from an unemployment crisis. There was a bit of hope when Amazon confirmed that they were going to be bringing a distribution centre to the town, but that didn't last long, as by June 2023 Amazon closed the site and relocated it to Sutton Coalfield, which meant that Rugeley doesn't really have like a major employer or a major industry now. And of course, now the power plant's gone, there isn't really anything in Rugeley. I believe the town has a population of around 25,000, and those have included people such as Nicholas Witherton, who was a politician, footballer George Pilkington, and of course I can't forget train enthusiast Simon Trains. This is Simon Trains' local station of Rugeley Town. If you ever watch any of his videos, he will start his day off here at Rugeley Town, and well, what a guy Simon is. So hello if you're watching this. But yeah, time for me to hop on a train to the final station of the Chase line, Rugeley Trent Valley. Let's go.
Police on 61016. We'll sort it. See it, say it, sort it.
Right, here we are, the final station on the Chase line, the final station in this video, and a station on the Trent Valley on the West Coast Main Line, Rugeley Trent Valley. That's where we are now. Now this station is terminus of the Chase line, and is also a cooling point, not a major cooling point, a minor cooling point for the West Coast Main Line for London North Western Railway services from Crewe to London Euston. Now the actual station here at Trent Valley is in the village of Colton, not Rugeley. It opened in 1847. From the 1960s to 1998, it was only served by local services from Stafford to Rugby or Coventry. These services were withdrawn in 2004, whilst the West Coast Main Line received major upgrade works to allow for services like these to go a bit quicker. Not bad timing, is it? Now services resumed on the Trent Valley to the station in 2008, and by that point they received Crewe to London Euston services, so services were extended much further. Now actually originally, when the Chase line services terminated here, they didn't. They actually went all the way to Stafford, but this was eventually cut in 2008 back to Rugeley Trent Valley due to low passenger numbers and lack of space on the West Coast Main Line. The station here at Rugeley itself is nothing really special. It's literally just 3 platforms. There are, however, some original station buildings here, which are original goods shed buildings. These are no longer in railway use, but they are used for some sort of goods freight purposes. I mean, I think it's like a pallet company. There's some storage or aggregates company which use these, but they're not in railway use anymore and not in rail freight use. Service frequency here then is 2 trains an hour into Birmingham on the Chase line, and 1 train an hour to Euston and 1 train an hour to Crewe by London North Western Railway. No Avanti West Coast services stop here, and the platforms aren't even long enough to accommodate 8 carriage Class 350s Only the front 6 coaches can fit, and because of the way the Class 350s are made, only the front 4 coaches can actually open their doors here. Oh, that sun is bright. I'm going to walk backwards. In October 2007, Queen Elizabeth II actually visited the station to name a locomotive. It was a Class 67 locomotive, 67029, named the Royal Diamond, to mark the diamond wedding anniversary between Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip. And it's also very sunny. Now, this station is definitely not step free, and it's a shame that there are no lifts at this station. It means that, oh, there's a passing 66 here. So forget how busy the West Coast Main Line is. But yeah, as I was saying, no step free access at the station if you want to go towards Birmingham or towards Crewe. Unfortunately, you're out of luck. I'm actually on board the train because it was quite busy on the platform. Everybody's waiting for a train towards Crewe, which is running late. But yeah, that is the end of the video and this 2-part mini-series on secrets of the Chase line from Birmingham New Street, well, Whitton, all the way up to here at Rugeley Trent Valley. I hope you enjoyed this 2-part mini-series. If so, smash like, smash subscribe, consider joining the channel as a Patreon or YouTube channel member, and of course leave a comment in case I missed anything which you think I should have picked up on. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. And of course, a huge thanks to all my YouTube and Patreon members, including my first class members Aaron Barry and Crispin McKee, my business zone members Andrew Bowen, Anthony Harris, Anthony James Moore, ARK, Connor Grieg, Clive Travel and Trains, Craig Mitchell 43, Dave CDF, Gordon Walker, Jay Teco, JBNel, Lewis C21, NJTE, Real, Scott Wheeler, That Transport Girl and Will Ho, as well as all my standard premium and standard class members. You can get your name on this list from as little as £2.99 a month, or join from as little as 99p a month. Once joining, you'll get access to exclusive perks such as members only videos, as well as early access to all my videos. Thanks so much to all my members. Once again, thanks so much for watching this video. I really hope you've enjoyed. Do like, subscribe, check out my Discord server, and follow me on Twitter or Blue Sky. See you next time. Goodbye.